Hi, Facebook and YouTube friends. This is Carin Lynch again in the Wildwood Lifestyle Center Teaching Kitchen, where today, as always, we're going to do a simple, nutritious, and delicious recipe. We're going to make meatless meatballs. Okay, so let's take a look at our ingredients. First, I'm going to start with a block of firm tofu. Now you can buy this in your grocery store in the produce section, and it's water packed. I just drain out the water and I mash it up. A potato masher works great for this. I have some breadcrumbs here. Now what I've done for these breadcrumbs is I've used some whole wheat stuffing mix. Now why did I use the stuffing mix? It has a lot of seasonings in it already. So I use that to give this meatball just a little extra flavor. But you could just use some whole wheat breadcrumbs as well. I have Bragg's liquid aminos. Now Bragg's liquid aminos are like a soy sauce substitute. So we're gonna use these Bragg's liquid aminos because they're not fermented and they give great flavor. I also have some walnuts here, and these are just ground walnuts as well as some ground pecans. Chopped onion, some chopped parsley. I have here some potato starch. Now the potato starch is great because that's gonna bind our meatball to keep it together nicely. We have some nutritional yeast flakes. Now nutritional yeast flakes are gonna give it a little bit of a flavor, like a cheesy flavor. An Italian meatball a lot of times has Parmesan cheese in it, but this is gonna replace that, as well as give it some B12 vitamins. I have some minced garlic, some Italian style seasoning, garlic powder, and onion powder. Okay. A great recipe is a one bowl recipe, and everything is just gonna go right into this bowl. I'm gonna start with our wet ingredients. First, I'm gonna start with our tofu. Now, all I'm gonna do is just really mash this down a little more, just to make it so that it incorporates well with our other ingredients. I've got my onion here. I'm putting most of my wet ingredients in first, just to give them a good mix. Then I'll put my seasonings in, and then last we'll put in our dry ingredients, the breadcrumbs, as well as our potato starch. Here's our pecans. Now with the nuts, you don't have to grind them all the way. If you like a little texture, you could actually leave them a little bit in pieces. So you can chop them or grind them. I like them a little finer, but some people like them with a little texture. Here's our garlic. And of course, our Bragg's liquid aminos. That's going to be in replace of our salt. It's going to give us a little bit of that savoriness that we're going to look for in like a meatball. So once we get that all mixed up with our tofu, we'll add our seasonings. So here is our nutritional yeast, our garlic powder. Oops, our garlic powder is stuck. We're going to push this right in. Our onion powder, Italian style seasoning, and fresh parsley. You could use dried parsley, but I think fresh parsley gives it just a little bit nicer flavor. Now when you're making a meatball, I think a meatball is kind of personal. So if you don't want to use Italian style seasonings, maybe you'd like to use just some basil or some oregano or whatever you like. Use what comes to mind for you and your family. All right, so we've got this all nice and mixed up. We're just gonna add our potato starch and mix that in. And lastly, our breadcrumbs. Now once you get this started, you might need to just use your hands. So once you get this all mixed together, what you want to do is make sure that you can make a meatball. You want to put it together and roll it, and if you can form a meatball, then you've got a good consistency. Okay, once you've got everything mixed together, we're just going to now roll some meatballs. Now I like to roll them about a golf ball size, but whatever your family likes is what you do. Just remember that if you do a larger size, you're going to need to use a little more time in the oven. I have these on some parchment paper, but you can also just oil a baking sheet with a little olive oil. That works as well too. Okay, so now all we do is we're gonna stick these in the oven at 375 for about 20 to 25 minutes on one side, and then we're gonna turn them over and let them brown on the other side for another 15 minutes or so. You know, growing up in an Italian family, well, spaghetti and meatballs, it's almost like a staple comfort food. This will satisfy your craving. Okay, my favorite part. Let's give it a try. It's got such a meaty texture and a meaty flavor. You're never gonna miss a true meatball. Well, friends, my time is up here in the Wildwood Lifestyle Center Teaching Kitchen, but I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, DIY Health. And don't forget to see us on Facebook at Wildwood Lifestyle Center.